Thank you,
Thank,
sir.
thanks for raising that one. Thank you. And we are Nala. We'll start now. Welcome everybody for joining this session. We really appreciate your taking out time and joining us today. And between Himanshu and I, we will make sure that you get the best ROTI, which is best return on time invested. Critical thinking is rated as one of the 10 core life skills required to thrive in a person's life. And the ability to think has become a lot more important than our knowledge in the current times. And there are a couple of reasons for that. One is the pace of change has really accelerated. And with that, the knowledge that we have is becoming outdated very, very fast. So it becomes very important for us to hone our ability to think rather than just rely on the knowledge that we have. Second is that there is unprecedented access to information. Today knowledge is not an issue. Just press a button and you will have all the knowledge in the world at your fingertips. What is important is how can you process that knowledge, how can you process that information and take the right decisions. And hence that is the second reason critical thinking has become very important. And one more reason why critical thinking is very important is because of the convergence that is taking place these days. So now increasingly the technologies are merging. Earlier, computer used to be a separate technology, mobile phone used to be a separate technology. Now we have everything come together. Earlier, medical was separate, engineering was separate, but now in IIT, they have introduced medical sciences as one of the subjects in the one of the semesters. In US, you can do your engineering graduation and you can do your post-graduation in medical and vice versa. So convergence is taking place, and that is another reason why critical thinking is very, very important. As people progress as leaders, it will become very important for people to rely on critical thinking to hone your judgment and improve decision making. The test of becoming a better critical thinker is not whether you have learned a new fact, but whether you have applied what you have learned today. How many times are you applying the critical thinking skills in your life versus just gathering information to take your decisions and hone your judgments is what the test will be. And the best part about this critical thinking is that it's a portable skill. So once you learn it, you can take it with you wherever you are. So that is in brief about the session today. This session is the fifth session in the Dar Se Dream Tak series that we launched on 26th of December. In my work as a mindfulness meditation teacher and coach, I interact with thousands of people, and what I was hearing from people was that there is a lot of fear, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety about what is happening, how the situation is unfolding. So I thought, I must share the two strategies that I am personally following and which are proven to beat stress and help people become happier. If you would like to know what those two strategies are, please type 2S in the chat box. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Grishma. Thank you, Shivdas. Thank you, Sanjay. Thank you. Thank you for your active participation and resounding response. So I'll share with you my two strategies, which I'm personally using and which are proven to beat stress, fear, and anxiety. And the first one is Lotus of Gratitude. I'll share this practice with you, and then I'll invite you to do it along with me. In this, what we do is we hold our fingers together like a petal of lotus. Lotus, as you may be aware, grows in mud. And the lotus that we are going to talk about is going to grow in our negative emotions, and it will blossom with the gratitude that we pay. Gratitude is such a powerful energy that once we start being grateful, it is impossible to be fearful or stressful. Some of you may know that recently I had COVID. So I'm grateful that I'm alive. I'm grateful that I have the energy to be able to do what I am doing. For 15 days, I was flat on the bed. And many things which we take for granted, like getting up and carrying on with our normal duties of the day, I couldn't do. And then I realized I need to be grateful for the health I have. I'm grateful for the family members who took care of me. I'm grateful that my family members are happy. I'm grateful that I have, I got admitted for a while. So I'm grateful there is a good hospital infrastructure in Delhi NCR. There are many, many things that we can be grateful for. So as you think of one thing that you are grateful for, please open one of the fingers. And then once you are done with all the 10, you would have a beautiful lotus in your hand. And once you are done with your 10, place your hand on the heart and I'll guide you to the next thing. This is a practice which normally takes just 1 minute. So, irrespective of how busy you are, you can always take out 1 minute in your life, in your day, and do this. So let's start. You can keep your eyes closed or open in soft gaze. And once you are done with your 10, please place both your hands on the heart and express gratitude towards planet Earth. Planet Earth sustains us with everything that we need to get our life going smoothly. It provides us with the oxygen that we breathe. There is no oxygen outside Earth's atmosphere. We get all the oxygen we need for free of cost. It provides us with water to drink. Without water, we would barely survive for a week, 10 days. And it provides us with all the food that is required to nourish our bodies. Have a sense of gratitude towards Mother Earth, towards planet Earth. Say thank you, thank you, thank you. And once you're comfortable, you can open your eyes. I would request everybody to please put themselves on mute, and you can unmute yourself when there is a question. So this is an exercise which you can do first thing in the morning, ideally first thing in the morning when you get up. You can also practice this before going to bed. This will ensure that you are in a positive frame of mind when you start your day and in a positive frame of mind when you finish your day. Thank you, Shivdas sir, for your comments. So this is one simple exercise which you can do, and once we practice gratitude, it immediately it helps us move from low energy state to a very high energy state. And the next exercise, next practice is living on purpose. Setting goals and living on purpose. I find that there is a study by Harvard Business School which says that there are only 3% of the people in the world who have written down goals. There are another 13% people who have goals, but they are not written down. And 84% of the people have no goals. They just wander in their life. They just drift in their life from one thing to the other. And it doesn't make people happier. And there is significant difference in how the 84% people, their life is who don't have goals, and the 3% who have goals. Just by measuring in their income, there was a 30 times difference in the amount of income of people who had goals than those who were not having goals. So it makes a lot of sense, not only from the income perspective, but from the overall happiness perspective to have goals. And keeping that in mind, we launched the Dar Se Dream Tak program, which is a series of 9 workshops where we're going to talk about setting goals in different areas of our life, which is physical health, financial health, the intellectual health, and the emotional health. Before we proceed further, I would like to take a minute to introduce myself and Mindful Living to you. Some of you have joined us for the first time today. My name is Ashish Kumar, and I started Mindful Living in 2018. Prior to starting Mindful Living, I worked in the corporate sector for about 25 years in senior management roles. In the last nearly 3 years, we have conducted about 200 sessions for people in leading organizations like Times of India, IBM, McCann, CII, Swiggy, Kotak Life, HDFC Life, and many other leading organizations. We are regularly invited by universities and insurance companies to address their students and employees. Coming back to the Dar Se Dream Tak program, the first 2 sessions that we did in the program were on financial peace. And the recording of these sessions is available on our YouTube channel. I'll request my marketing team to share the link of YouTube channel in the chat so that you can go and subscribe to our YouTube channel and look at all these sessions and what we have covered. Session number 3 and 4 were on emotional intelligence. This is something which is very, very important. And EQ, which is emotional quotient, is rated to be more influential in success at work and in life than IQ. So there was a lot of discussion on how to handle our emotions. And then coming to the session today on critical thinking, and I have shared with you why critical thinking is so important. This session is being taken by Himanshu. The session next Saturday will be at 12 o'clock, which is on the secret of setting and achieving goals successfully. Then session on 13th February, we are going to have 2 sessions in a day, which should be on home ergonomics, which is about all how to have your posture right so that the neck pain, back pain, etc. can be avoided. How can we keep our body flexible? How can we strengthen our spine and muscles, etc., so that we can work, stay fit and work from our home. And the next session on 13th itself will be on Yog Nidra, which is about sleeping better. A lot of people in these times are having difficulty sleeping, so this session is particularly targeted towards that. And the last session on 20th of February will be by Dr. Nupur, which is on mindset of success. We're going to talk about the, uh, the the subconscious and subconscious mind, and how there are patterns in our mind, in our subconscious mind, which sabotage our success. So many a times people sabotage their own success. This comes as a surprise to people, but our biggest enemy is not outside us, it is inside us. And that's the concluding session in this Dar Se Dream Tak program. And with that, I will now invite Himanshu to take over and take this session forward. Himanshu is a dear friend and a partner at Sounding Board. He's a thorough professional with over 16 years of experience across the industries in different roles. He's a Dale Carnegie certified trainer, and he works extensively in the area of sales and leadership development. Himanshu, over to you. I would invite you to say hello to everybody and take the session forward.
Thank you so much, Ashish. Thank you, everyone. Formally, good evening to those who are with us from within this country, and good evening, good morning, and good afternoon if there are people joining from other geographic zones. One disclaimer, the picture that you saw on the slide is something that I aspire to look like, not what I look like today. So don't get confused when you look at that picture and look at the person who's on the camera. That's an old picture. And I was listening to what my dear friend Ashish was talking about, um, mindful living, and I was also thinking what we are going to do today is so deeply connected to to become happier, to become peaceful, to become mindful in the way we lead our lives with purpose and intention. So we are going to talk a lot about thinking, critical thinking, and the premise or the myth, rather, for the lack of better word, that we want to break is something that I experienced while I was in one of the organizations, and some of the people in the organizations always used to ask, is this person creative? Can this person think critically? Are you innovative? And the question was always binary. The answer was yes, he is, no, she isn't, or he isn't. And that's really got me thinking. The question that we need to ask ourselves and others is not whether are you able to think critically or creatively. The question should be, how do you think critically and creatively? Everyone can. There are different ways that we do it. And that is precisely what we're going to talk about and learn and share. How do we think about solutions and problems when we have to think differently? A quick check though, I would like to see if you had to respond to me to a question without unmuting yourself or without putting it on chat. And if I were to ask you whether we are good to go ahead, how would you let me know? You cannot speak, you cannot type. Is there a way that you know that you can tell me that we are good to move ahead? Thank you. I see thumbs up on the videos. So thank you for that encouragement. More people that I see on camera, better it is. Thank you. There we go. All right. That was one of the things that I was looking forward to. Thank you for those who came on camera. The other way, those I understand there are some of us who may have bandwidth challenges and may not be able to be on camera for the entire bit. In your participant list, you may see towards the bottom of the participant list where you see all the names, you may see a green check which says yes. That is another way of letting me know whether you are with me. If I ask a question, are we moving ahead? Is there a question and you have to respond in a yes or a no? You have a green check and a red cross which says yes or no. If you're able to find it, super. If you're not able to find it, we have cameras where you could tell us that, all right, hang on, I have a question, or you could unmute yourself, or just put a yes or raise your hand. Feel free to use any of the feedback tools that Zoom has. With that, allow me to share my screen on my laptop and just give me a moment. One of the things that COVID has taught us is to embrace technology. I still fondly remember days when we used to run sessions in classroom where there were, we had people sitting right in front of us and there were so many ways. And the only thing that as a facilitator we had to worry was about whether the lighting is okay, whether the projector is fine and all of that. But those have changed to, am I audible? Can you see me? Can you look at the screen? So the questions have changed dramatically. So I'm just trying to put all the chat boxes or the participant windows in place so that I don't miss if there is any comment on the chat window or on the video screen that I have. All right, so this is where we are. We are going to talk about critical thinking, and the three things that you see on the screen are, as one would imagine, if there is a problem, if there is a situation to which you have been trying to think about and trying to find a solution which is not obvious, which is not being already told, which is not already being tested, how do you break through that problem and start to think to create multiple options, multiple, not solutions, but multiple ideas, multiple thought processes to, so that you can find a different way to find a solution to the problem that you are witnessing today. But before that, I'd like to hear or maybe hear or see from you. If I were to ask you to express critical thinking in just one word, what that word would be. Can I have some responses on the chat window, please? One word. How would you express critical thinking in one word? All right. And while you are putting it up in the chat window, I'm going to put it up on the slide so that we are able to see everyone's responses. I see someone writing right. Unconventional. Super. I'm just going to keep putting it up on the slide. Mindfulness. In very interesting comments I see on the screen, and so many. So give me a moment while I'm trying to put these up on the slide. Oh, and I see someone putting it up on the slide. Thank you so much. I see that some of us are pretty comfortable with the Zoom and the tools that Zoom has. Wow. All right. Logic-based innovation. Yes, a lot of times critical thinking is about thinking differently. Can you innovate? Out of the box thinking, again, on the same line of thought. Logical thinking, yep. It is a combination of logical thinking and, as Sanjay writes, also a combination of thinking creatively. Black Swan, wow. Thinking beyond the limit, brainstorming, thank you. So I'm putting all the things that are coming on the chat window. I may have skipped a few because there were so many responses. So pardon me if I'm not able to put every response that I'm getting, but I'm glad to see so many responses and so much of encouragement already. Okay, all right. Lateral thinking. Anything that I missed out which should be on this screen? I think more or less. Helicopter meaning a distant perspective. Yes, thank you. A bird's eye view. Thank you. Clear-headed. Super. All right. A lot of responses on the screen. Thank you for putting these up. All the responses that we have put somewhere or the other correspond to how can we think differently, how can we think creatively. And let me save this and clear the drawings on the screen. I heard Ashish talking about why critical thinking is important, and to emphasize on this very briefly, gone are the days when any external force, either in businesses, organizations, individually in your personal or professional capacity, there were external forces that came and hit you so hard that you had to change the way you were functioning, because the success that we were looking at immediately vanished out of the window, and we had to think differently to find different success patterns, because something outside our world, which we can control, changed. And while the phenomena has still continued to be the same, the frequency that these external changes hit us has increased multifold. Right? Look at 2020. No one was expecting in January or February of 2020 that the world is going to change so much, right? And every now and then, businesses, people, professionals in our personal and professional capacities, we continue to experience change. And when that external change hits us, we say that we have a problem and we need to find a solution to that problem. Now, the reason I put this picture up, I was looking at a lot of pictures and I saw this picture where there were, a very converged thread, which is very difficult to figure out which way you are going, what you're doing. There are to and fro, because that's what really happens, right? Whenever there is a problem, people tend to start and they are looking at solution which seems distant, and they're trying to figure out different ways, be it businesses, be it organizations, be it individuals. And there is one thing which remains common whenever there is a problem that surfaces, and whenever we are looking at a solution, there is one thing that always is common, which is we are told to think differently, right? So many times I have heard this from leaders, from bosses, from parents, from friends, from peers, sometimes saying it to our own selves. We need to think differently because the way we are heading, we are not reaching and we are not going to get a solution to this. So can we think differently? And this is where the myth also plays its part. A lot of times people say, oh, you know, that person can think, I don't know if I can. That's not true. Everyone can think creatively, everyone can innovate, everyone can have a bird's eye perspective, everyone can brainstorm, everyone has the ability to think creatively or think logically. It's just there are different people have different ways to do it. And what we are going to do today is look at one of the ways of thinking differently. Please be informed that there are multiple tools available today that help people think differently. We are in today's session, because of paucity of time, we are only going to look at one of those tools which will enable us to think differently. That being said, before we get into discussing how do we think differently, I'd like to see how we think in today's time, right? So before I ask you to do one simple exercise, I request everyone to be ready with a pen and paper. If you have a pen and paper near you, a plain paper, good. If you don't have, you could use your mobile's chat window or laptop's notepad screen, anything where you are able to write quickly. All right. And you will have just 1 minute for this exercise. So please pay close attention. In the next 1 minute, I would like you to list down all the things which are circular or spherical in shape. Anything which is circular or spherical in shape. I would like you to start writing as I say the word go. You will have 1 minute. Exactly after 1 minute, I'll announce time up and you cannot write then. So here is your time. 3, 2, 1, go. Write it on your mobile, not on chat window. It's your list. Start creating your list. Write as many objects as you can. Let's see how many can you get. Thirty more seconds. Write as many spherical or circular objects that you can think of. I'm assuming people would have written almost 30, 35 by now. 15 more seconds. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And your time is up. Please stop writing. Okay, let me ask, and you know how you can respond. Either put it on chat or just give a green check in your participant window. Anyone who has 50 and above, 50. None? All right. 40 and above. Oh, I have Sanjay who has written 50. Well done there. All right. Anyone 40 and above? Yeah, it's a wow. 50 objects is a wow. I'm just thinking, even if I take a 1.15 second to write a word, I will not be able to get to a 50. So there is some jol that you've done. All right, anyone more than
Actually,
20?
I heard it mistake. You said 50, no?
50. Oh, you heard 1.5.
Yeah, I thought it was
Ah,
1.5. That's why. So I'm sorry for that.
no problem, no problem. All right, all right. Anyone more than 20? No? All right. 15? I know Sanjay has 15. Anyone else who has
Yeah,
written 15?
me too.
Up. All right. Deepika has 15. Grishma has 15. Super. Anyone between 10 and 15? Ah, all right. Now we have a lot of responses. 10 and 15 sounds like a okay number. Now I'm there. You started off with 50. Are you crazy? Some people might be thinking, oh, how can someone write 50? Yeah, this is outrageous. You're just trying to ridicule us. All right. So a lot of people have written 15, 12, 13, 11. I see a lot of people. Okay. All right. I have 17. So I think Grishma leads the pack with 17. All right. Grishma, would you like to unmute and tell us what these 17 objects were? Very quickly. Just
Yeah,
name.
so I have written globe, bangle, watch dial, a round table, planets, round bowls, photo frame, ball, emoji, pillow, sun, moon, then like a sweet meat ball.
Huh? All right. I like the way you're thinking.
Gulab jamun, rasgulla, momos.
Yeah, thinking very differently. Yeah. So there are planets, then there are balls, then there are watch dials. I like it. I love it. Super, super. Now, think about this. We had a minute to us, all right? And I know that we are not superhumans that we can write one word per second. But even if we took, let's say about, and no one is reading, so we didn't have to be clear while we wrote. Even if it took 3 seconds or 4 seconds, maybe 3.5 seconds to write an object, we would still get to that number, isn't it? We would probably be looking at 15, 17, 18, 20. That's the number really one can get. But the other thing that starts to play is um, we tend to get stuck, right? Happens all the time. You're thinking and you're writing. I saw a couple of folks who were on camera who started writing and then they're thinking, okay, now what else? What else? Aa nahi raha hai kuch. I'm not able to think. Now, that happens with almost all of us. But here is something that I'd like to tell you, and I'll also tell you how is it possible. What if I told you that you could, if not more, at least double the count of things that you were thinking immediately? It is possible. And let's see what stops us in thinking of different objects and putting them down on the list. What is that reason that we write 10, 12, and then we start to struggle? What do we write? That happens because of a concept which we call as green light and red light thinking. Now, what is this? Let's decode this and get it there one by one. A green light thinking happens the moment when you hear a problem, when you hear a situation, your mind starts ideating, your mind starts generating ideas. In this case, the mind started thinking of different objects that are circular and spherical. And as your mind thinks those things, you start writing. But then there is also one red light thinking which happens, which is the other side of the brain, which immediately says, all right, this object is done. So for example, when I heard someone said ball, the moment your mind tells you, all right, ball is one object, your red light thinking tells you ball done. Now think of something else. and then you think of emojis or coin or other objects. And the moment you think emojis, or the moment you think coin, or the moment you think watch dial, you say, done. Let's move to the next object. That is what really tends to happen. And you start thinking, what else, what else, what else? I'm running out of time. I'm running out of objects. I can't think of any. And if you go back to these ideas, your mind, the green light thinking side of the mind tells you, go back to the object, see if there's anything else. And immediately there is a red light which clicks in and says, no, 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 this is done. You've done ball, you've done coin, you've done emojis, you've done this. So think of different things, think of different things. Now, here is my question to all of you. I'm sure some of the objects would have been common, which we heard from Grishma: coin, ball, emojis, watch dials. The question was, list down all the objects that you can think of which are circular and spherical. Now, when you wrote ball, what stopped you from writing big ball, basketball, football, white ball, blue ball, cricket ball, tennis ball, sponge ball? Or when you were writing emojis, what stopped you from writing smiling emoji, frowning emoji, thumbs up emoji? What stopped you? When you're thinking of coin, what stopped you from writing 1 rupee coin, 2 rupee coin, 5 rupee coin, 10 rupee coin, 25 cents, 50 cents? What stopped you?
Because I thought it's silly to write. Like I remembered Rasgulla and I was like gulab jamun, momos. Then I'm like, stop it, think something else. So I
Yeah,
thought it's silly to write.
But when
exactly. Yeah.
but when I write the option no ball, so I've written like football, cricket ball, basketball. But then I thought like people will think she is crazy. She's
Yeah.
writing example of ball like this only. But and watch also I wrote like wall me watch, hand watch kind of things I wrote.
I'm so happy, Imani, that you were thinking on those lines. And I can totally relate with, I don't know who was that, who was talking about Rasgulla, because the moment you said Gulab Jamun, Rasgulla, my mind went somewhere else. So, but I can totally relate to what you have, you would be going through and what our mind tells us, right? This is naturally a natural inclination that happens with us, right? Be it in the case of what am I thinking, I have to move to the next item, or what Himani mentioned, reasons could be what will people think? Oh, this sounds like insane. No, I should not do it. That's green light, or that's red light, right? That is a part of your brain which tells you, no, this is not working out. Think of something else.
So we start judging while thinking, is it?
Absolutely. And think of green light and red light as they are, right? The more often than not, the green light and red light, all of us see on traffic signals, isn't it? I see a thought that technically ball can be written only once. Yes, thank you. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Think of green light and red lights on a traffic signal. Have you ever seen red and green lights going up parallelly at the same time? If yes, what would happen? Accidents, chaos, traffic jams, isn't it? There is a reason why when there is green light, yeah, that's what I'm talking about, Ruchi. Accidents will happen. If not accidents, God forbid, but definitely chaos and traffic jams. People will get confused. Should I move ahead? Should I wait? What is going to happen? Which is why there is a pattern. Red light follows green light. There is one light that blinks, and when it goes off, the other comes up. And when this goes off, the other comes up. Similarly, when we are trying to think and ideate and think about different possible outcomes and options or ways to solve a problem, the green light and red light have to be separated. They cannot function together. Which is why a lot of times when people start thinking about solutions, more often than not, people get stuck and say, nahi, samajh mein nahi aa raha hai. I can't think of any. Maybe we need some time off. My mind is not working. Your mind is working, but your mind is working parallelly as green and red. So someone brings up an idea, And the moment you're thinking about that idea, you immediately tell yourself, no, this is not going to work. This is ridiculous. Ye to hoga hi nahi. Or you feel that if I voice this idea to people, the other people will start ridiculing me, saying, are you insane? What are you thinking about? And that's what red light is, right? Think of any situation, any trivial situation. We were talking yesterday, and I said, there was a discussion, how do we see green and red happening in our day-to-day life, right? This is a controlled hypothetical situation, right? The number of balls. I said, all right, if you had to go from point A to point B, or one city to the other city, one place to the other place, and someone asks you, how can you reach that place? The most obvious options come to our head. There is Uber, there's taxi, there's car, there's bus, there's metro, and we stop. The moment our mind tells that there are other ways, we immediately bring the red light on and ridicule those ideas. So I was talking to, why can't you walk? Why can't you run? Why can't you take a lift? Why can't you take a rickshaw? And the responses were, are you fooling me around here? How is someone going to walk? How is someone going to take how is someone going to fly? I said, that's red light. First, think of options. The way to look at a problem and thinking differently about those problem, about the solution, is separating green light from red light. First, focus on the number of ideas that you can generate without, as someone correctly said, without judging. And that is what green light and red light really is, right? Green light is about idea generation. The focus should be on quantity. How many ideas can you bring on the table? How quickly can you think of different ideas that come to your mind without judging? That's the key. If you are going to have multiple ideas to a problem, not solution, we are not there yet. For us to arrive at a solution, we will need to use red light. But for us to have the best solution, we will need to have multiple solutions from where we can pick the right solution. And if we want to have multiple options, which will give us multiple solutions, we need to have more and more ideas. And that is where a lot of you guys with writing on the chat, when we said one word, a lot of these things came up: idea generation, fluency, brainstorming, judgment, analysis. All these are important, but look how these are divided. When you look at red light, you will see red light thinking is judicial. It is about, now it's time for me to make a decision. What options are working out well? It has to follow the green light. It has to now focus on quality. And now, once you have multiple ideas with you on the table, is our time to start thinking about red light. Invoke red light thinking and start thinking logic, start thinking feasibility, start thinking, is it possible? Does this look workable? Are there ways that I can work on this idea and make it a reality to solve a problem? But never, ever combine these two. It's easier said than done. It requires a lot of effort, a lot of discipline. We ourselves saw the moment we started writing objects, both started to happen parallelly. We were thinking, we were doing green light, and then we were doing red light. In some way, Sanjay, yes, you are right there. Green is divergent and red is convergent. When you're thinking green, you are only thinking possibilities. You're only thinking options. You're only thinking ideas. You are not thinking, how will I reach there? You're not thinking, is it workable? You're not thinking, is it ridiculous? You're not thinking, will people believe in it? You're not thinking, will I believe in it? That's all not happening. You're only thinking ideas. And red is convergent, where now you have 50, 60 ideas on the table together as a team. And then you start thinking, all right, now let's look at these ideas and see whether these are working out well. So that's really green and red. I'm going to take a pause here because right after this, we are going to see how does it work. It sounds interesting. Maybe it sounds easy as well. Oh yeah, I just have to train my head to do green and then do red. Next time when you ask me to write the number of objects, I'll write many objects and I'll say, yeah, I've done it. So it sounds very easy. We're going to practice it and apply these things into a problem that we're trying to solve as a group. And then we'll also try and look to solve some of our individual problems using green and red. And there is a technique that we can apply and learn so that we are able to train our mind to do green and red without overlap. But all of that in a while. Before that, I'd like to take a pause and answer any questions, comments, clarifications if you have. You could unmute yourself, put it on chat if there's anything that we'd like to clarify or.
Yeah. When we say that the red light is rational and logical, which means in green light you can think even illogical and irrational, everything, fantasy sort of thing.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, and think about this. Again, one of the examples that we were discussing yesterday, we all use mobile phones, right? Not very long ago, mobile phones didn't exist. There were landline phones which were wired to a cable, and you could only use that phone to some distance, wherever till that cord went. Someone would have thought, why can't we carry phones with us? Now that was at that point in time probably have looked irrational, maybe fantasy, maybe someone would have said, this man has gone crazy. But it's a reality now, isn't it? When we used to travel on road, someone must have said, why can't I fly? Why can't we reach destination and avoid a road? And some people would have ridiculed, people would have laughed, but that's green light. There are ideas that populate, and if done well, if you're able to use the red light and green light in accordance to the awareness, to the knowledge, the intellect that we all have, and use these two mechanisms to come up to a solution which is not just workable, but also solves the problem effectively, this works. So yeah, it can be illogical. It can be, it may seem like fantasy. Think about a lot of things that we see today in a lot of fantasy movies, right? People hitting a button and moving from one place to the other, people becoming invisible. All of that looks fantasy today. You never know. 20 years, maybe I'll press a button and you will see me sitting next to Ashish. So you never know. Yeah. Thank you for putting that thought up. Any other question, thought, comment? 10 seconds. If there is none, then we'll proceed and we'll really see how this thing works. How can we train our mind to separate green and red and have multiple options to a problem that we are facing?
Just want to comment here. I think sometimes we are in hurry to find the solution. We don't, I would say, give enough time to really brainstorm or do anything, but we are always in hurry to find a solution. Yeah.
I agree, Sanjeev. And I'll probably replace sometimes to most of the times, because in the world that we live in today, maybe at work, at personal situations, time is always of the essence, right? Time is one resource that we can't reproduce.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything has to happen everyone wants less, everyone wants more, better in less. That's the reality. So yeah, I agree with you. A lot of times we are not able to do this because of the time pressure that we have. Even then, if we are able to train our mind, and you will see that some of the tools, in fact, the tool that we are going to practice today does not take more than 10 minutes to separate these two. It probably will take about similar time, but the result that you will have will be very different if you were to mix these two. Yeah, all right. I thought someone was putting up on the chat. All right, so let's move ahead and let's now get into how do we train it? How do we put this into use? Sounds okay, but can we use it in our day-to-day life? And that's the big question. How does it work? So one of the tools that we are going to use to see how we can separate green and red is called visualizing success. Now, when we go through this tool, you will realize that you may want to call it in different names. That's all right. There is no copyright to it. I like to call it as visualizing success or creative visualization, as my friend Ashish termed it while we were discussing this. So call it the name that you want it to. But the important part of this is how do we start visualizing the solution to the problem and start moving to separate green and red. And in order to see how this functions, I thought, because we are about 28, 29 people here from different backgrounds, so I thought to pick up a problem which almost all of us would be rather able to relate with. And here is the problem that we are going to work together as a team. Pollution is a known devil in the urban cities that we live in. No surprises there. Lifestyle diseases, waste being dumped into the rivers, on the roads, landfills, toxic air, traffic, radiations, carbon footprint, construction, lack of greenery, trees being felled. These are some of the issues that are becoming a serious problem. I think we'll all agree with that. And here is what we are going to do now. So government has imagine and assume this being a real case and you all being a part of a special task force. So government has created a special task force and you all individually are a part of this team. Government has given you 3 years to solve this problem, to make your city pollution free. Now you're a part of this team. You have 3 years. This is the problem that you have at hand. And now we are going to work towards this problem and see how can we use green light and red light, separate them and use it to come up with some ideas that will probably help us solve this problem. Please mark my words. I'm saying we will have ideas that we will have to work upon to go to a solution that we can visualize. All the creative and critical thinking exercises only give you ideas. How you work on those ideas is individual discipline, and we are not going to touch there. We are only going to be talking about separating these two mechanisms. All right. So type a yes or give me a yes in your participant list if you are clear with what the problem is and there are no questions on the information that you have on the slide. Okay, all right. I'm starting to see a lot of yeses. I can relate to it, Satya, but that's what we are practicing. Right, keep your red light thinking out for some time, and this is precisely the reason why this tool becomes important, right? Because invariably our mind is trained to do green and red together. It's very difficult to separate these two, but we will be doing this. And for this to happen, for this visualizing success tool to happen, there is just one request that I will have for 2 requests rather for everyone. I'm going to stop sharing the screen for some time because this requires for us to be able to see each other. My request 1, if people who are here and have a good bandwidth can come on camera, because this requires us to be on camera, at least for me to be able to see you all. Will make this exercise effective. Thank you so much. I see a lot of people turning on their cameras. Always a delight to put faces to the names. Thank you. So those who are on camera with us, thank you so much. The second request that I have is there are certain things that I'm going to ask you to do. Please trust the process and follow the instructions. Don't bring your red light thinking, saying, what the heck is he asking us to do? So keep that away. Trust the process, follow the instructions, and we should be able to see what it leads to. All right, give me a thumbs up if we are good to start. All right, super, thank you. So the first thing that I would like all of us to do is sit straight. Don't slouch, lean back, or, as I often call this as an office position. So don't sit in your office position. Sit straight so that your shoulders are up, right? Not military attention, but just so that you are sitting straight and you are aware of your body, right? And now close your eyes. Everyone, close your eyes. All right. Now, sitting still with your eyes closed, I want all of you to take a deep breath, hold it for a fraction of seconds, and exhale slowly. You will have to keep your eyes closed throughout the process. Inhale, take a deep breath. Feel that your mind, your body is relaxing. You are at ease. You are in a place of calm and composure. Exhale. Deep breathe. And exhale. As you are breathing and exhaling, you are in the year 2025. It's been more than 3 years that you were a part of this special task force, and you have been able to solve the pollution problem in your city completely. You have unlimited, undiluted, ideal solution of that problem. Now you want to go and visit the city to see what does this ideal solution, pollution-free city looks like. And you have traveled to that city. Now imagine yourself in the morning stepping out of your hotel. Picture yourself walking out of the hotel lobby, exiting the main gate. What do you see in front of you that tells you or that shows you that you have been successful in solving the problem? Picture yourself walking on the sidewalk or on the footpath adjacent to the hotel, and you see there is a newspaper stand. What do you read as the headlines of the newspaper that tells you that you have been able to solve the problem of pollution in the city? As you continue to walk, you see two people on the bus stop talking about the environment and the air and the atmosphere of the city. What do you hear them say that tells you that your city is pollution free now? As you continue to walk, there is a park towards your left. There are children playing. What do you hear them say and what do you smell that tells you that your city is pollution free? Smell the success of your ideal solution. What does it smell like? Picture yourself in that city. And as you walk, as you keep inhaling and exhaling, you now start to rise up from the ground. And as you rise up, you are able to see the bird's eye view of that city. At 500 feet level, what do you see from distance that tells you that your city is pollution free? You keep rising, and now you are at an altitude from where you are able to see the entire city. It's in your vision. What do you see that tells you from the entire this picture of your city that tells you that you have been absolutely successful in identifying, implementing, and executing the problem, and you have been able to solve the problem completely? Take a deep breath. And exhale. Slowly open your eyes. All right. Now, immediately, without wasting any time, I would like all of you to start writing all the things that you saw, heard, smelled, felt on that piece of paper. Everything that you saw while you were in that city. Start writing. Take a couple of minutes, write all the things. Don't think about how will you get there. Only think about the things that you saw, which told you that you were successful in solving the problem. Okay, while you were doing this, I was also doing it on the same slide as you were. And let me share my list with you. What did I see and what did I hear? These are some things that I saw as a part of my solution. I saw flying electric cars. I saw solar energy operated mass transit system. I saw multi-story vertical gardens in the city, which were purifying the air. I saw clean rivers and water bodies. I saw smooth flowing traffic, no congestion, no cars waiting at the signal, polluting the environment. I saw clear, clean blue sky. I saw a massive green cover in parts of the city when I was at that high altitude. And I also saw lots of bicycles on the road, less of cars, more of bicycles. These are a few things that I saw while I was doing this exercise with you. I'm sure all of us would have similar or maybe different, but maybe 10, 12, 15 things that we saw, we heard, we smelled. Keep a note of these ideas. Now, here is the step one, and just give me a moment. I see there are, yeah, thank you. I see people are putting up Healthy runners, birds and bees, happiness. Wow, simple. I saw everyone happy, no complaints. Yeah, so these are things that we tend to see. Each one of us can see different things. Now, here is an important part. This is the first part of the entire process. Right? This is what green light looks like. You will also realize that there are a few things which, when I see with my eyes closed as a picture of success, and now is our time to move from green to red, because not everything that we saw can be a reality in the 3 years. Would you agree? Right? So, for example, in my list, teleporting, I don't see that happening immediately. Clear blue sky is a desired outcome, looks like this is what my ideal solution looks like. But is this immediately workable? I don't know, because there are things which will need to be done. So once I have done this exercise, followed the process of visualizing success, my green light is in place. I have items on my paper which can be a part of the ideal solution that I am looking at it. Yeah, thank you. I see people putting in different things that they saw. Now, here is the second step, and that is where our red light thinking comes into play in solving the problem. When you look at your list, and we'll take my list for this example, and then we'll work in small groups to figure out our list. Following the red light, now I need to start to look at my list and see what are certain things that I can start working on immediately to solve my problem. For example, multi-story vertical gardens is one of the ideas that I generated using green light. Looks workable in the next 3 years for me to implement. And the specific things that I'll do to make this happen, I will probably run feasibility study to identify spots where I can have vertical gardens. I will possibly invest in technology which can use recycled water and compost to feed the plants automatically so that they don't die, because vertical gardens will need a lot of maintenance. So I probably will start thinking on that. The other idea that I thought I could work upon is solar energy operated mass transit system. So the things that I could work as a part of special task forces, I could start funding national companies to manufacture solar cells. I could grant subsidies to those companies so that they are interested and motivated. I could form a special body to fast track that funding. I could also incentivize companies who are willing to be a part of this. So commercial fleet operators, metros, local trains, anyone who's willing to be a part of rooftop solar technology, I could possibly incentivize. The other idea that I could look at from the list is lots of bicycles on the road. That is something I could do. That sounds workable. I can again incentivize people who use bicycles. I could give them bonus. I could give them, I could make um, a, a point club system where they continue to earn awards when they cycle. I could possibly find people who are willing to buy a second car, add some more money to it if you have to buy another car. And I could possibly give a cycle free to people who have cars and are willing to go on bicycle, something like that, right? So I will start to think on different ideas that I can work upon. Now, this part of the exercise is purely red light thinking, because here you are looking at the ideas that you generated using green light, and now you are evaluating them. Now you are judging them. Now you are thinking about them, whether these are workable, and you start to work on these ideas. So this is what I would like all of us to do now. And give me a moment while I create small rooms. A quick check, everyone here is absolutely comfortable with the breakout exercises? You know what breakout rooms are? Can I see a thumbs up if you know? Super. I see a lot of people already are. So we are 30. So let me create 5 and give me a moment. It'll take possibly a minute. What you will need to do is I'm going to assign 5 people into the rooms. And once you are in your room, you will work together. You will exchange your lists with the people in the room. You will share what your list looks like. You will discuss, deliberate, and then you will together try to find out at least 3 ideas which you feel can be worked upon. And what are the specific steps that you will take to make it a part of your undiluted solution, right? That is what you are going to be doing. So I have created the rooms. Give me a moment. Yeah, some of you may have 4 people, some of you may have 5, so don't bother about it. And the time that you have with you is 7 minutes. So in the next 7 minutes, please share your lists with each other. Tell each other what your green light thinking looks like on the paper, and then start doing red light and find out 3 workable ideas. That's what you would have done by the time we come back into the room. Your breakout rooms start now.
One small clarification.
Please.
This whole exercise is only related with these 2 points which you just now shown, or
No, this is your list. I just showed mine.
okay,
I'm
okay,
sure you would have created your own list, right?
okay, fine, yeah, sure.
It was just for demonstration what needs to be done. So out of your list, if you have 5 people and one person hypothetically has 10 items, so in total you have 50 items. Now, some of these items would be common. So quickly share what your items are that you saw while we were doing green light, and then quickly come up with 3 items or 3 ideas that you as a group feel are the ones that we can immediately start working on, and those 3 ideas can be a part of your solution. Sounds okay? Super. All right. So I'm going to open the rooms now. Some of the people will realize that you are not a part of the breakout. The reason is that you are 4 or 5 people here in the main room, so you can use this room to share your list so that we are also able to learn from you all. So Divya, Nina, Shivdas, and Sumit, and Satya, you are a part of this group.
Okay, I'll share my couple of the green lights first. So one was the bicycle idea. I saw a lot of bicycles around. I saw a lot of public transport stations around at very small distances. I also saw a lot of when I say greenery, it was not specifically only trees and all this stuff, but everywhere there were green lawns, and there was a lot of wild life around, as in birds and all that. I also saw the fact that waterways were being used. Okay, and people were using electric type of vehicles. So stuff like your scooties and all that stuff were being used. Not too many cars, and there weren't. I mean, while the roads were there, they were kind of very well done up, very well laid out roads with very good traffic management systems. So
Okay.
those were some of the green lights that I wrote down.
All right. Okay. That sounds okay. How about others?
So, okay, let me go. Let me share my list. So, I saw beautiful trees, a lot of greenery, and birds are flying. There are beautiful flowers. People are happy because the skies are clear. Uh, and then I saw there is uh, lakes, big water bodies around. I saw smooth traffic. Yes, there were solar energy plants on the every house. I also saw, yeah, lots of bicycles. You know, that's one
Common.
thing I also common. Yeah. Yeah, mostly, yes.
Uh-huh.
This is
And I see Sumit writing there, solar energy plants have replaced fuel emitting chemical plants. Isn't that great? Visually, it's so appealing. And water bodies are clean, elements in
Yeah.
nature, trees, gardens, leaves more prominent, air is cleaner, so visibility is much higher. Super. Any other, what did others see? We have heard 3 people. Satya, you want to share something that you saw if you are with us?
Hi, actually, yes, I want to share. I have seen lot of cycles. I have seen people, matlab no car without full passenger. Matlab, uh, every car is having full capacity of people able to sit them. No use of polythene, and every children to adult is aware about the kind of kachra they have to put in, like recyclable kachra have to go on that kind of baggage. Um, and in indoor plant as well as outdoor plant is must for every house. And these are the things which I have seen and
Yeah,
as
yeah.
of now.
Interesting. So I see, Satya, you were focusing on more tactical things, right? People should be aware of where are they disposing, and
Yes.
the waste dumping is one of the issues that you were thinking about. So again, interesting. Now here is how this works, and this could work individually. This could work with group of people like us. Now, once you've done your green light, where you've seen what looks like as an ideal unlimited solution to me, can you now look at your list and find out few things that you feel can be acted upon, which is your red light thinking, right? So bicycles, I heard 3 people talking about bicycles, including me, is one of the things that can be worked upon, right? This is an
Sure.
idea that can definitely be worked at. Waste dumping, awareness, knowledge is again something that can be worked upon. Clear skies, birds flying, I don't know, because it sounds good, but is it a workable idea so that I can have birds flying and people looking happy? Uh, it's a little subjective, so I may think about it at a later stage. But greenery, as Sumit writes, am I pronouncing your name correctly? Is it Sumit?
Sorry, I missed what you said. Sorry.
I'm saying, am I getting your name correctly? Is it Sumit?
Yes, yes, it's Sumit. Yes.
Yeah. So Sumit spoke solar energy plants being replaced by no, replacing fuel emitting chemical plants. Now that's an idea that can be worked upon, right? You could use funds. You have government support. So this is definitely an idea that can be worked upon. Visibility, clean air, all of this. You will always see that when you do a green light and when you start doing a red light, there are few ideas which you look at and you say feel right, but they don't look workable. I cannot immediately start taking actions on it. But some of the ideas will dawn at you and say, all right, this sounds workable, isn't it? And that is really the process of separating green light and red light. So I think we are up with our 7 minutes. I'm going to get people back in the room and hear from them as well. But how was your experience of doing the green and then looking at the red?
Good.
Yeah,
Great. Yeah.
super. Let me.
In fact, I have written one more, plant the trees. So I
Yeah.
feel that's workable.
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely, absolutely.
Planting more trees, yes.
Yeah.
So this just shows that when we put our minds to work and we really, we can come up with things, just by sitting down for 2 minutes and concentrating.
Yep, yep. And that is why I wrote, I spoke to Sanjay when he said that sometimes we don't have time. Right? It's not really a function of time, is it? It's just that we are always doing the red and the green together, which sometimes does not allow us to do these things in tandem. All right, we have people back in the room. While I was calling people back in the room, I heard 2 people asking for help. So I'm sorry, by the time I could respond, I had already closed down the breakout room. So you were already on your way back. But I'd like to hear from people in different groups. How was your experience? Any ideas that you felt came out, which you feel is workable? How was your experience of separating green and red?
Yeah, it was pretty good, I would say,
Yeah.
because some really practical solutions were discussed.
Yeah.
So I believe given the situation that something which needs to be delivered in 3 years' time, or something which is workable in 3 years' time,
Yeah.
and a tangible result is to be seen. So yeah, so we had ideas, and I believe we have thought of a few which can go online in 3 years' time.
Uh-huh. Okay. All right. That's encouraging. All right. How about others?
Yeah, same with us.
Mhm. So were you able to converge your green light ideas into some of the ideas, maybe 2, 3, which you feel can be worked upon?
Yes, definitely.
Uh-huh. Interesting.
Really? Yes.
Very interesting. Very interesting. All right. How about the other groups? We had 5 groups. So can I have quick responses? Did you, what were the sharings? Did you struggle? Were you able to quickly find out?
So yes, we struggle in one opinion, like so it's like for the bicycling one, how we can make it the mandatory rule for people, because if you're going to you're going to that the option for people. So in India, people are having this mentality, if it is not mandatory and if it's not a rule, then people certainly don't follow it because they take it very casually. So
Yeah.
why not to make it a mandatory rule, like from the government, or if not from the government, then like every organization can keep this thing. The people who are residing near to the organization, they can use bicycles, so nobody has to come through a 4-wheeler or something like that. Or we can keep a day in a week that everyone have to come by bicycle or walking. So kind of these things, like how we have to approach this through the government or through the organization, what we can do for this. So yeah,
Also, rather we also discussed, if someone is using only his bicycle for commutation and not cars or anything, then government maybe gives, some percentage rebate in their tax exemptions, or maybe 50% bill offer in restaurants, something like that.
yeah, that's what we discussed. So that was in our discussions and what we have to follow, like how to make it successful.
So I see tremendous red light thinking happening in the
Yeah.
groups where ideas were discussed, debated, contemplated. Super, super. And you will also now realize while you've done this exercise for particular situation, that it's the green light which takes a while, right? Generally, we are good at red light thinking. generally we are able to find logic, discuss, debate, come up to a solution, say, all right, this sounds workable, this does not sound workable, I may have to relook at it. But it's the idea generation, the first bit, that takes a while. And while we are trying to do that idea generation, someone, or when I say someone, something in your head or someone in the room will jump up and ridicule it immediately, saying, oh, no, this cannot work. And then you're like, okay, now I don't have any more ideas. And then what happens is, as a consequence, is you get the same obvious ideas which have been told, discussed, applied all the while. And you go back to your, whoever you are accountable to, your senior leadership, your bosses at home, or maybe towards you, and say, you've invested so much of time and you've come up with the same ideas that we already knew. So, you know what? You're not able to think critically. You're not able to apply your brains. And then you start doubting your own self, saying, oh, am I not able to think creatively? Maybe we need an external consultant to do this. And that external consultant will come and do the same exercise with you and make money and go. So
he will look at a watch and tell you the time.
Yeah. So yeah, this is what really the exercise is about. Now it's again something that I'd like to put on the table here. In fact, two things. One, as I said, this is just one of the tools. There are many tools which are available to separate green and red. This tool, some of the tools rather work well for people whose natural inclination is to visualize things. There are people who like to paint a picture of what success looks like, and that comes naturally to them. They are able to paint that picture more effectively compared to others. While some of the people are more data, logic, rational driven. So if you ask them to paint a picture, they start digging data and they say, if data isn't there, then I can't paint a picture. So which is why I said there are different tools for different types of people, and you could use a combination of these tools to separate green and red. But the base or the basics of thinking differently, or rather the condition to thinking differently remains same. You have to separate green and red, come what may. The other thing which becomes important is the first point on the slide. Rest all are the steps that we did right now. I've just put it on the slide so that we are able to know the sequence of how we did it. But the first point becomes pertinent. Identifying the right problem. Now, in our case, I had laid down the problem and we started from the second step, which is we closed our eyes and did our exercise and then started thinking about ideas. A lot of times what happens also is that the problem statement where we start is actually not the problem. And which is why the solutions that we start thinking about using green and red also don't take us anywhere. Again, we were talking about the other day with one of my friends, and we were discussing this concept together. And and I said, what's the problem that you would like us to work upon using visualization tool? And the gentleman said, my problem is, there were two problem statements came, and surprisingly, both statements were not the actual problems. So the statement was, my business isn't growing. That's my problem. And he said, can we do this exercise to come and generate ideas and then do green and red? I said, hang on, there is something which we need to work upon at the very first statement that we made. Business isn't growing is an outcome of a problem. It's an outcome. The problem lies somewhere else. And which is why the 5 whys become important in identifying the right problem. Two gentlemen that I follow very closely, Dr. William Ury and Simon Sinek, both of these gentlemen say, by the virtue of their experience and in their books as well, that generally when you state your problem, that problem is not the actual problem. And if you continue to ask why to every problem statement that you say, once you have asked 5 whys, you will more often than not arrive at the real problem. Now, what I mean when I say this, so my business isn't growing. Okay, why is it not growing? Because my business is not growing because I don't have enough clients. Why you don't have enough clients? Because I'm not spending enough time on marketing my products, reaching out to customers. Why are you not spending time? Because my time is going in creating content for my programs or creating my product. And generally, when you ask these 3-4 questions, you realize the problem is not business is not growing. The problem is prioritizing your time into different activities. So I'm not giving enough time to the business development initiatives. That is my problem. So I need to manage my time well. That is a problem where you can start working, right? At this point, I would like to open this up for others in the group. Is there, has it happened with you? Is there a problem that you have said to yourself that this is my problem, and then you realize, oh no, if I ask these 5 whys, probably my problem statement is going to change? Has it happened? Does it happen often?
Actually, this kind of thing happened, but we never thought that it'll be in the same sequence as 5 whys. We have thought about the thing, but it was, I mean, that way. We may have reached that root cause, but not necessarily along this template of 5 whys.
Yeah, all right. Happens a lot of times, and this is why I'd like to, if anyone would like to throw up a problem, saying, all right, this is what I think my problem is. Let's see, using these 5 whys, are we able to identify the right problem? Are we looking at the right problem to solve? Or is there something else that we're looking at?
So what I want to share, Himanshu, so when I was working in one organization previously, so there also we used to do this. So it's we used to call this process as why analysis. So for every problem, like it can be related to any department. So not a thing like that. So any minute thing, we have to go through the why analysis. So doing that, we can come to the root cause, or might be we can understand what is the actual problem. Because sometimes we are just seeing the superficial things. Now we are not seeing we are just seeing the iceberg on the top of the things. So what is going on besides, we really don't know. So getting the idea where the main problem is, we used to do the why analysis. So that's what I learned in the previous organization.
And it is spot on, Himani. That's what really happens in most of the trivial situations, right? If someone, you or a near one says that I have fever, the solution to the problem is have a crocin. It's gone. But fever is not a problem, right? It's a symptom of a problem.
True. Yeah. Really true, because the organization where I was working, so there, so being a doctor, the thing is like I've had the exposure of many other things. So like production, you can say production, manufacturing, and many more things. So then I came to understand that by doing this why analysis, this is like really helpful in my particular field as well. So so basically I'm an Ayurvedic physician, and in our science it has always been mentioned that we have to do the root cause analysis. I mean to say, we don't have to see the symptoms. So it's not the thing like symptomatic treatment we are going to do. We have to see the root cause. So basically that is what they are using in their organization, the why analysis, to go through the root cause. We don't have to see the symptoms like, this is the problem, but like from where it has been originated. So we have to work on that. So yeah, really, it's really helpful. I even have the experience of the same thing which you have just told everyone.
Yeah. Super. Thank you for doing this. Yeah.
Like whenever I encounter any problem. So apart from being in the industry, I'm also a visiting faculty for some master's students. So one of the concepts is Occam's razor or a Hanlon's razor. So it's a very good method to cut the chaff out.
Yeah.
And
The
figure out,
simplest
okay,
solution is
the
often
simplest solution is often the
the
best
right
solution.
solution, the best solution. Yeah.
Yeah.
Occam's
So you
razor.
basically, yeah, Occam's razor is about it. Handling razor is okay, is an extension of that. But yeah, all the razors, so there are around 24 odd razors which are there.
Yeah, yeah,
So which you can use.
yeah.
So all the razors eventually come down to, like, that to strip down the chaff around and then figure out,
Yeah.
okay, what is the easiest, what is the simplest solution which can be thought of. Because if it is complex, then you will never be able to achieve it.
Certainly.
So
Thank you for sharing this. Yeah, thanks.
I think I have some point to make here.
Yes, Kajal.
There is one thing which I feel is a problem statement for me, but I've never been able to find the root cause of it. And it's a very simple, line that I'm not able to say no to people. It could be in terms of work, that if somebody is saying that, even if when I have like a lot of work and somebody comes and says, could you please do this? So, despite knowing the fact that it would be an extra burden on me, I'm just not able to say no. And till the time I've not been able to find, because during that thing, what happens is I actually lose, the balance between my personal and professional life a lot of times, which I think in long term is not going to be beneficial. So I would really want to do this Y test right now with you, if time permits.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. If there is a problem and a solution can be, I'll just need to check with Ashish. Ashish, do we have time? Ashish has a big thumbs up going up. All right. So the process is, you know the drill, right, Kajal? The moment you say, I'm not able to say no, the first thing you will, as you said, you will be able to realize that this is a consequence of something which is happening, right? It's an outcome. It's not a problem. So my first question is, why are you not able to say no?
I think maybe, I think that the person in front might be in some situation and I could be some help. If I say no, they won't have, any other resort to go, or that task would be left or something like that. I'm not clear myself.
Why are you not clear?
Because there are so many things packed up, because there are certain factors and not just one factor leading to it.
So why do you keep thinking about these factors?
Maybe because I feel like I want to keep everyone happy around me. Maybe that's one reason.
Why do you want to keep everyone happy?
Nice question. I don't know, because I think I want to treat people good because that's the way I want to be treated.
So why do you want to be treated nicely? Why is it important?
Because I'm a human and we live in a society.
Yeah, but then, like, principle of reciprocity, what you are referring to over here.
Yeah.
What is the guarantee that if you are being good to others, they will be good to you? Because you can't control them. You have only as much control on yourself. So like, if you are saying that I want to be good to others, and by that extension others will be good to me, that itself is a defeatist thought, I would say.
I know. I was waiting for Satish to jump in, because I could sense Satish will have something to say about basis of course, the tremendous experience that you have working with people of different ages. So yeah. Thank you for pitching in. But Kajal, now you will, and of course we can continue this conversation after the session if you would like. We can exchange our coordinates and work, but you will now come to realize that there are deeper things which are happening because of it. You're not able to say no, right? So one is you mentioned that I feel for others and I think everyone should be happy, everyone should treat me well. There are deeper reasons to why one feels that way, and but that's how this this really works. I see Sanjeev has a hand up. Yes, Sanjeev.
Yeah. So Himanshu, I just wanted to see, normally whatever is the problem and whatever is the maybe possible solution, it lot depends upon what is the span of control you have. Yeah. And sometime I think, especially in the corporate environment, yeah, means there are means forget about the politicking and other thing, but I think it all depends upon how much is the span of control you have. Otherwise, the ideation it keeps happening, and then we keep lingering the problem, and the solution is never implemented. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that is also, I think, there are limitations in which up to what one can go. So maybe individually, when you look at your own problem, you have that decision making, and you have that like you can take that call. Yeah.
Get it? Yeah.
When you have to do it in the corporate structure and all that, so then there are so many other factors which come into the role, into the play.
Yeah.
And then people who have the authority, or people who have the control over resources, or people who have the say,
yeah,
they will ultimately prevail, rightly or wrongly. But yeah, that's what is the reality of.
I would just add something over here. See, like when you say span of control is a relative term.
Correct.
So
Absolutely.
Span of control for Ratan Tata is different from
Hmm.
span of control what you and I would have.
Correct. Yeah. So that's why I'm saying, wherever you have control.
No. So I'm just coming further on that. So the problem when what happens is where you get stuck is that you would always be, whether it's Ratan Tata or you or me, will always be faced with situations which are beyond our span of control. Or for that matter, like, if you take Prime Minister Modi, he has a tremendous span of control, but then he will always be faced with situations where that span of control doesn't extend. So that's where dissatisfaction or frustration creeps in. So for example, if Ratan Tata had a span of control over Tata Empire, and someone tells him that, look, I want you to increase my salary, he would say, yes, go ahead, do it, because that's in his span of control, and he would not be frustrated about it. But if someone tells him that, this person is dying in your hospital, in Tata Memorial Hospital, and you make him alive, that's beyond his span of control. He can't do it.
Yeah.
But that is unrealistic expectation also. That
I think what we are trying to get to is both Sanjeev and Satish, you both have points that stand true and tall in different situations.
Yes.
But my response, and this is where I'd also like to bring it to close and hand it over to Ashish, is I know that there are situations where we will not have span of control, and probably a question of authority, resources, constraining forces, right? That being said, I'll still go back and say those are your red light thinking mechanism, right? So we will possibly, fortunately, unfortunately, knowingly, unknowingly, have to let some of the good ideas that have come from green light go, because red light thinking does not allow us to implement those ideas. That being said, those ideas being generated and shared is still important, right? If the ideas don't surface on the table, they will never see the light of the day. So that's where I'd like to close this, that yes, in some situations, we may not have the power to excel or power to implement all the ideas that we generate. Generating those ideas without thinking that whether this will get applied or not still is important, because maybe maybe tomorrow, right? So that's what I'd like to close this. And though I would have liked us to work on this, but this is where I'd like to close this on. For us to be really able to see whether creating creative visualization works for us is when, after this session, when you get time, I would have loved to do this here with all of you, but we worked on a hypothetical, not hypothetical, but a forced situation of pollution here. What we would like you to do is pick up one of the situations or one of the problems that you're facing either in professional or personal life. And like Kajal mentioned her problem, and try to use this process. Try to separate green and red. follow the process, trust the process, do what we did here, go into the future and see, hear, smell from a distance, see what success looks like, and then try to get into red light thinking. And we would love to hear if that worked out well for you. And Kajal, we can speak if you want to speak more on this problem after we are done. With that, I would hand it over to Ashish. Thank you so much for participating and being patient in this entire session. Over to you, Ashish.
Thank you, Himanshu, for such a powerful session. Himanshu, is it okay for people to take screenshot of this slide that you have put up?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, friends, in case you would like, you can take a screenshot of this screen. And, this is a nice process which Himanshu has put out. And I plan to do it tomorrow as a part of my weekly planning exercise. And I would urge you also to take out time and do this. And Himanshu, I would also request you to share your number on the chat so that people who would like to connect with you for further discussion on this.
Sure. I just did, but I think I just did it to one other person, not to the entire group. So
please feel free to share it with the group.
Yeah.
And I would thank you so much, Himanshu. I'll also request you to stop sharing the screen so that then we can move on to the next part. Friends, thank you very much for participating. Thanks, Himanshu, for a superb session. And though a lot of you have given your feedback by participating actively and also sharing that you learned something valuable in the session, we will just put out a feedback form which will take less than a minute for you to fill. So please fill out that feedback form, and then we'll be happy to take this further.